Hello and welcome back to another arena draft here with Mike. This is draft number 7 from the month of July, the ladder reset from July. And yeah, we're trucking along. Still kind of grinding through platinum here. We had a couple good drafts, a couple less good drafts. Unfortunately, I'm having a bit of a stint where we have a few in a row that just aren't great. We went, I think, 1-3 in the last one, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 1-3 in the last one with that Esper deck that looked pretty good, and we just did not go well. But yeah, that's okay. We're going to try again, and we're going to keep trying. Again, this is July. This is the month that we are determined to hit Mythic. So we want to stay in the top 1,000. We want to get our little invite and our qualifier points. And pack one, pick one, we are taking a Lelia, the Blade Reforged. This card is a vintage cube, like, playable card. I'm not going to say all-star by any stretch, but the card is very powerful. Good to have it. I'm actually intrigued by its inclusion in Modern. It hasn't done anything to date, but it's a really cool card, and I would love to see it actually pop off in the format. So we'll see if that ever comes out. Here, pack 2. This is not an exciting pack at all. Guardian of the Forgotten, Petrifying Meddler, the Ethereum Terramander, This pack is bad. This pack is very, very bad. If we can't even just take a red card to stay red. So I don't think I've even drafted red-blue, but I don't think Lelia into Petrifying Meddler is what we're looking for. If we're red-blue, I think we want to be energy. So, yeah, Terramander, I guess. Just keep a low curve. I've never really been that fond of the Guardian of the Forgotten. Alright. Wither and Bloom is not bad to follow up a Terramander with. There's an Arena of Glory hanging out there. If we had taken the Guardian, then there was a Conduit Goblin, but that's okay. Wither and Bloom is a very fine magic card. Here's a Charge Bug over kind of nothing again. These packs don't look particularly appealing. There's not a lot going on in any of them so far. I think the pack we opened with the Lelia and the Angel and some other solid hits it has just been the best pack by far. So, what do we got? We've got a Cranial Ram and we've got a Ral in the Implicit Maze. If we are looking to capitalize on this Ethereum Terramander and Smelted Charge Bug, I think grabbing these Cranial Rams when we see them, I will gladly play many, many Cranial Rams and try to get the job done that way. Ral in the Implicit Maze, obviously a good card, but there are going to be matchups where it just doesn't do anything. Pyroclasm just doesn't matter against a board full of 3 toughness creatures or 4 toughness creatures. So while when it's good, it's exceptional, when it's bad, it's awful. So Cranial Ram is always at least going to be a body and a little duder. Yeah, Witch Enchanter I think was probably the best card in that pack, but again, we're just going to try to cut off our colors and hope pack 2 is just a better pack. This is another Witch Enchanter. I like Witch Enchanter a lot, but yeah, Dream Trigger Vampire or Inventor's Axe there. The Vampire is just a much better card than the Axe, though I maybe should have considered the Axe just for the sake of another cheap artifact. If we are leaning on the Cranial Ram or the Ethereum Terramander's adaptability, then we do want to pick up a lot more cheap artifacts. But we'll see. We'll see what the packs bring us. We're going to start. This is about to be pick 8, so this will be the last pack that we haven't seen from pack 1. And then we start wheeling things. There's nothing particularly exciting that I can think of that we passed earlier that I'm excited to wheel or hoping to wheel. Again, the packs just didn't really cooperate very well. Oh, good. Wasn't there another Roshin in a different pack as well? So no red or black cards here. So we can just take the rare for the sake of taking the rare. We can take the, yeah, on whatever. None of these are making the deck, right? So. Fangs of Colonia. I don't know. I guess, yeah, I don't know why it's up there. I'm not really feeling like I want to move off of anything in particular. Though I do only have 3 red cards, so I guess it's possible. I can't even think of what we would have to open to move off of the red cards, but I'm sure there's something. Alright, Retrofitted Transmigrant is as good of a card to wheel as any that we opened from our first pack. Might as well. Cheap artifact, a recursive threat. There's that other Roshin that I mentioned a moment ago. We can grab the... We might play a Barbarian Ring, I guess. It's an extra couple points of damage. Sometimes that's going to ultimately close out a game. Though, you know, not likely. And I don't particularly want to be taking a bunch of damage from it. But the Arena of Glory wheeled, but so did the Conduit Goblin. That's wild. Here's a modern playable consigned to memory. We'll throw this over here so that we can use it in modern... Oh, wait. That's not on Arena, is it? Dog Umbro, late pick. So there's a couple white cards. Hexgold Slith, last pick. Yeah, so like we're kind of like looking at this like, okay, there's a couple white cards being very, very late here. Maybe we're supposed to push into white at some point, but we'll see how the packs shake out. So this pack is not really much that we want. Again, the black cards, Eviscerator's Insight, Retrofitted Transmigrant, neither of these are things that I want to first pick. The red card is literally just a Molten Gatekeeper. It's the only one. The white card is the Metastatic Evangel, which I guess is the best card, but woof is really all I got here. Victimize, Gravedig, Transmigrant, Glimpse the Impossible, Skyclaw, again, just very, very medium cards. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll play Victimize. I'll play another Transmigrant. I'll play Glimpse. Like, I'll play any of these black and red cards in a deck. But this is pick 2, right? Like, this is where you're looking for the off-color rare from the person to your left to be passing you something that's on color for you. You know what I mean? Like, these are the picks where you really want to see cutting off colors starting to pay off. You want to be getting past the very good cards from the colors that you are in. So here at least we have 3 good options. Pyrosurfer, Familiar, and Eldrazi Linebreaker. Linebreaker, while probably the just blanket most powerful card out of these, is not going to be what we're looking for since we don't make Eldrazi spawn and we don't have colorless sources. But in general, that card is very, very good. We're going to grab one of my favorite cards, the Pigeon, the Refurbished Familiar. I do like having these in my deck, especially if we're going to be... We have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2-mana or less artifacts so far. So we want to up that count a little bit, but it's very possible that we just curve, 1, 2 Familiar on 3. And that's going to feel good. Grim Servant versus Skittering Precursor. I like Precursor a little bit more than I like the Servant. We would like to pick up some number of landscapes in order to make the best use of the Skittering Precursor. But even if we don't, it's still just a 3-mana 3/3 with Menace, which is nice. And, you know, if we pick up an Accursed Marauder, or if our opponent Accursed Marauders us, there are still ways to make do, to make the precursor actually work out for us. Also, Eviscerator's Insight, if we wind up with any of those, will trigger the Skittering Precursor. Any on-color landscapes? Yes. Sheltering Landscape is on-color. Nothing else really in the pack for us. We could take the Gravedigg, I guess, but like all of our creatures are kind of little shitters. Jet Medallion, I guess. I'm not really looking or likely to play this Jet Medallion, but it is a 2-mana artifact to power out the Refurbished Familiar. It does make a bunch of stuff in my deck cost less. The Metastatic Evangel is wheeling. Like, something is up with white in this pod, and I don't know if it's just, like, a lack of a lot of white cards being opened, or what. We did pick up the Eviscerator's Insight on the wheel. We're picking up the Skyclaw on the wheel. I don't want a second Barbarian Ring. I'm not going to play any of these other cards. I might as well take this Infernal Captor. It is also another way to sacrifice something. Just, you know, on the rip, we do have multiple Transmigrants already, and sacrificing those, not the worst thing in the world. This is the kind of, you know, I would be happy with like a Goblin Bombardment-esque card, but obviously I don't think there's any in this set. Bombardment was in MH2. That's a lot of 4-drops. Yeah, let's start trimming those down. I suppose technically the Refurbished Familiar is not a 4-drop. Like, I know it's 4 CMC, but we're probably not paying 4 mana for it. Especially not with as many 1-mana artifacts as we have. What are we finding with this Grim Servant? Like, in a perfect world, if we just got to... If it was just Demonic Tutor, what are we doing? Probably Lelia. That's not... Like, Lelia is good, but that's not particularly exciting. We only have one good piece of removal here with Withering Bloom as well. There's something. We're not getting that much Devotion to Black, though, so we're never going to be able to tutor for it. But that's a big fella. Let's go, Harrogast. Reiterating Bolt, very cool. I would love the Reiterating Bolt, though we're not making energy, so that's actually just 2 mana, deal 3 damage in a lot of cases. Do we have anything? We have the Charge Bug, and that's it? Yeah, we're taking this Harrogast. Let's go, big dumb Mythic that I haven't played with. Psychic Frog, you're so late to the party. If you think I wouldn't go Harrogast into Psychic Frog in a pack 1, people are crazy. I love that little frog. Anyway, here's the Accursed Marauder. Trigger the Precursor. Have a good little removal guy. A good little lad. Okay, this is a bunch of stuff I'm not going to play. I could take a second Sarpadian Simulacrum. I could take a second Eviscerator's Insight. Void Pouncer I'm not really casting or interested in. I'm not sure. Where am I at on creatures? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, time's running out, so we're clicking buttons at this point. Amped Raptor, get in here, friend. Yeah, Amped Raptor over Skoa and Rush, 100%. There's another Cranial Ram. Super happy to pick that up. We'll even be happy if we wheel like that Dross Claw or something. Arena of Glory number 2. That's interesting. Consuming Corruption, we're too deep on 3 colors. Smash is whatever. I'm pretty happy taking an Arena. I would love to make any of my 4-drops hasty. I would love to make Harrogast hasty. All of that seems okay to me. Bleh. Just bleh. I guess I can take this Mindless Conscription. I have 2 Eviscerator's Insights, but I'm probably cutting this Conscription if I had to bet. We have another vampire, so at least there's a playable card in this pack for me. That's good. That probably puts us well over the creature count. Here's a landscape. Again, landscape. We want one or two on-color landscapes just to make sure our mana is smooth and that they trigger the skittering precursor. The precursor isn't going to be at its best in this deck. We only have a handful of ways of sacrificing stuff. Cursed Marauder, one landscape, a couple of Eviscerators Insights, but that's fine. Creation of Avacyn. Never gonna use this card. The best thing to tutor up in my deck is the Harrogast, and I'm not paying 9 life to go find it. Yeah. Bunch of stuff that goes straight into the sideboard. And where are we at? We're way over on our count here, so what kind of cuts are we looking for? Probably that Mindless Conscription, yeah, I agree. Condor is actually looking pretty okay in this deck. Surprisingly, the Scurrilous Sentry can probably go. The Thriving Skyclaw is okay. It gives me some evasion. That's the second last pick, Hex Goldsmith. I don't know. It based on the last picks, it feels like somehow I should have found my way into white, but at the same time, I don't remember passing particularly good white cards. I know we passed a Metastatic Evangel. I don't remember passing hardly anything that I would deem like super powerful. There was 2 Witch Enchanters we could have had, 2 Conduit Goblins. Like I don't think all the white we passed is better than what we have, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this should have been a Burrows deck, and I missed the signal to move into Burrows. That is distinctly possible. I think I like the Infernal Captor here. Between 2 Eviscerators Insights as ways of being able to like steal an opponent's thing and then sacrifice it. The Harrogast that we could potentially emerge through a very large friend that our opponent donates to us. I think I like the Infernal Captor, though 4 mana and then needing more mana on top of it as a sacrifice is a bit tough. So I could certainly see not playing the Captor, but we have 3 1-mana black cards and a pile of 2-mana black cards. Is this split right? 2, 3, 8. I guess it's 8/8 plus the Shattered Landscape. And we have double black. We have double red on the Harrogast if we emerge it. Yeah, alright. That's fine. 8/8 plus the landscape. So, yeah. So, Draftsmith here wants to cut the Siege Smash and play the Captor. I'm light on removal. I kind of want to keep this Siege Smash, looking at it right now. I do also kind of like the Captor, like I said, but I think 6 mana is going to be a hard ask. But the Captor does have the higher upside here, I think. But anyway, let's get into game 1. See how this deck goes. The pool itself felt pretty medium. I gotta be honest. Like I said, nothing about those packs felt particularly exciting from any color standpoint that I can remember. But, you know, some drafts go like that. So we're going to keep this hand. It's no black sources, but we do have multiple things to do. The Amped Raptor can cast a black card for us, and there's our swamp, and everything's great, and we never had to worry about anything. Amped Raptor is going to have a bunch of misses in this deck, unfortunately. We have, what, like 3 or 4 3-drops, I think 4 or 5 4-drops, and then the Harrogast way up at the top. So the Amped Raptor does have misses in this deck, unfortunately. We can play the Charge Bug first. Yeah, if we want to bank a little bit of energy, and then the Raptor can hit everything in our deck besides the Harrogast, I think. We have the Infernal Captor that can sacrifice the Transmigrant, or exploit the Transmigrant, if we can figure out how to how to steal something or what to do with a stolen thing, I guess. No, just sitting sack outlets makes the act of treason effect a little worse, but that's okay. It can also just be a way to end the game. So this turn is very likely to just be Amped Raptor, see what we hit, and go from there. Is our opponent missing lands? Their name is fantastic. Time Walking on Sunshine. That's great. Alright, here we go. Ampter. Accursed Marauder is fine. I'm perfectly happy with this Accursed Marauder. We get to sacrifice a retrofitted Transmigrant that we can bring back later, and we're clearing either a Tamiyo or the Royal Cartographer before the Cartographer gets a chance to draw 3. I'm perfectly happy with hitting a Marauder off an Ampter. So, naturally the Tamiyo is sticking around. No surprise there at all. We have a little bit of a board, which is nice. We potentially can give the Marauder Menace if they just play a single blocker. And I only say the Marauder because depending on the blocker, the Ampter can just attack into it anyway. First strike is good. We also have the Infernal Captor. So if we can get our opponent a little low, like next turn we have the choice of just bringing back the retrofitted Transmigrant during our opponent's end step or casting the Grim Servant and finding like a 2-drop. We can find like a Wither in Bloom potentially just to get this Tamiyo out of play before it causes too much problems with card advantage. Or we can, like I said, get back the Transmigrant and just have a bigger board. We have the Captor. If our opponent tries to like stabilize with one big thing, then potentially we can Captor to win the game. Just get it over with. So, but we'll see. Opponent tanking. Tank, attack with Tamiyo, make a clue. Okay, that part felt like the obvious part. Now what? Another landscape. The Royal Cartographer looking pretty good with all these landscapes from opponent so far. Like, I'm very glad that that card is no longer in play. So yeah, here we go. As I mentioned a minute ago, we can give the Marauder Menace and still be able to attack in with the Ampter. And our opponent theoretically shouldn't have anything to say about that since they're tapped out. That's 6 damage, putting them to 10. And then we drew Terramander, which is pretty medium on this board. So I think this is attack, and then end of turn, bring back the Transmigrant. End of opponent's turn, excuse me. So, in for 6. They can literally chump the Amped Raptor if they want to. Oh, not Transmigrant. We're going to go find a 2-drop. So we're going to just go get Wither in Bloom, I guess. Like, I think it's Wither in Bloom. This is another 3-power threat for what it's worth. So, like, this, I'm very okay with this, but I think slightly better sequencing would be to get the Transmigrant in play, but this guy does have Menace, right? Yeah, so this is a 3-2 with Menace, so maybe this is better. It just gets a removal spell, shows my opponent 9 power to attack with, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the energy for 9. So we can make it difficult to double block, especially if they're attacking with the Tamiyo. We can make it difficult to double block while also clearing a blocker. If they just crack 2 clues here. Oh, there's a red source. We didn't see that yet. If they just flip the Tamiyo and uptick it to make my attacks worse, we can clear the Serum Visionary and then kill the Tamiyo, right? 3 is 2, 3, 4. So without spending any energy, we can kill a blocker and kill the Tamiyo. Unless this last card is, I guess, Galvanic Discharge. But if it is, it is. We are drawing a lot of lands, which is not the best, but is what it is. The fact that it's an extra swamp, at least, means that we can get this Terramander down this turn as well. Though, like, if our opponent has something like a Wrath of the Skies, we're going to be real sad about it, but I don't know that there's much we can do. While we have 4 creatures, because of the Tamiyo uptick, this is only an attack for 4. So, I think... Yeah, I think we just clear the Tamiyo. I don't think we go straight face and let this Tamiyo uptick again, or potentially rebuy. Like, be able to go kill spell, rebuy, kill spell. Okay, this lets me get 1 damage in on opponent here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And we get 1 damage in. Yeah, just double checking my math. Alright. We can target this. We're not going to spend the energy here. Bunch of Tamiyo triggers. Decline. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. Tamiyo down. 1 damage in. Nothing new committed to the board, so if our opponent does have a sweeper, we didn't overcommit anything. In hindsight, I think maybe I should, since we see the red source over there, there's a possibility I should have put the +1/+1 counter on the Grim Servant, just in case the sweeper that our opponent has is Raoul and the Implicit Maze. It's Wrath of the Skies, it turns out. So, you know, I'm glad we didn't play out the extra threat there. But here's a Terramander. End of turn, we're going to get this Transmigrant back. Double checking, making sure this doesn't say as a sorcery. Alright, Discord, shut up. Alright, you're not shutting up. Jesus Christ. Sorry, folks. I don't... Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Okay. I'm gonna get that out of here. I apologize, folks. Discord was making a lot of noise, and I don't even see why. All right, that's an Arena of Glory into a Drowned Lurker that is bad for me. Is not good. A giant vigilant thing. Yeah. I'm gonna take it, but they can jump block it, which sucks. But I do have this Eviscerator's Insight at least. So we were talking about having the Captor during deck construction, and how it wasn't going to be particularly easy to have 6 mana to potentially steal things and then be able to sacrifice them. But I'm kind of glad that I decided to put this thing in, because, yeah, we're going to get to do the thing. We attack. They probably jump, yeah, because they think they're going to get their 7/7 back, which is a perfectly reasonable assumption. And then we draw 2 cards and kill their 7/7, and that's pretty good. We did have to choose between sacrificing the retrofitted Transmigrant or the Terramander, and I think because we can continue to get the Terramander back, or I'm sorry, get the Transmigrant back, and the Terramander is just an evasive threat, it's going to be a little bit harder for our opponent to clear out. I think it is correct to sacrifice the 3/3, even though we could have gotten in 2 extra damage that turn. But I could be wrong on that. It's possible that couple damage is gonna matter, but it's very close, I think. Okay. Alright, well, here's all those clues that Tamio managed to make coming in real handy. This is a line breaker, probably. Well, what do you want to target here? Did they give the flyer just so that like I don't have the option to trade and then pay 2 energy and gain life? Yeah, okay. So yeah, do this, pay 2 energy, go back to 11. They still have a flyer back, so my Pteramander can't really do anything. I have no blocks here. This makes sense to me. That was a very good reload coming from our opponent. Do we have 8 mana? Can we play the Condor and the Transmigrant here? Yes. All right. That could be worse. Still not great. We are now behind in the race. That line breaker is going to be a pain. But I suppose, this is where we're at, and it's not the worst place to be. What happens if we attack with the Captor? Nothing good. They just let it through, go back to 8, and then attack us with the line breaker. The Captor is kind of fending off the line breaker at the moment. So, end step, bring back the Transmigrant. We have the insight to weirdly move counters around with the Condor at some point if we need to. Otherwise, we're just going to try to close out the game with these flying creatures, I think. Transmigrant can just attack every turn. I don't know. We're on nothing here, though. Like, we have a swamp in hand. That represents a shield counter, I assume. Yeah. Line breaker, sure. Okay, so now my Captor is trading with a shield counter instead of with the line breaker proper. Okay. More energy. That's a bunch of exalted triggers. If they just use all of it to put 4 exalted triggers and then attack with the line breaker by itself, that's +5 +4. That's an 8, 7 with a shield counter and trample. That sounds awful for me. Okay, they didn't use the last 2 energy. Presumably that means they're going to give lifelink instead. We're going to block with this Infernal Captor. And take a bunch of damage. I assume they're giving lifelink. Yeah, okay. Okay, 7/6. We take a bunch of damage. We're blocking with the Captor to break the shield. But this is not looking particularly good. Oh, I don't love this block. If I'm going to block like this, then I think that I should have gotten the Transmigrant back in response. Just to make it a 6/6. But I suppose this is fine too. This keeps the dumb gargoyles from trying to kill me. Land. I have no attacks. I can no longer adapt the Pteramander. Here's a Molten Gatekeeper. Yeah, this game kind of spiraled out of control a little bit. We even got to do the thing. Steal our opponent's big dumb idiot and sacrifice it. Line breaker target itself. Big and tramply. Yep. No energy to give lifelink at least, so, there's that. We double block here with the Captor and the Transmigrant, I guess. Dead to a removal spell, but that was going to be true either way. And yeah, we don't really have removal spells of our own here to really come back with. We tutored for the Wither and Bloom that we did have. Dog Umbra to make their thing indestructible. Yeah. Yep. You got it. I take 1. Umbra falls off. I'm going to get my Transmigrant back. At least this is good and annoying for my opponent, but not feeling great here. Landscape, not what we're looking for. Yeah, get me out of here. So, are we just dead? Attack, 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 attack. Block, block, block. We take 3? Yeah, we're just dead. Okay, we needed literally anything, like something to survive. Not literally anything as in we're fine if we draw anything, but we needed not a land to even make it to another turn. And unfortunately, that's not what happened, so. Alright, no black mana again, bunch of red cards again. We're gonna play them. Get in there, little goblin friend. Hiya! Okay, I would love another land, because this curve could be great. Do we want to use all of our mana here? Or do we just want to get more goblins in play? I think that's actually pretty close, to be honest. Also, I didn't think about the simulacrums, but the simulacrums with the precursors also trigger, just for what it's worth. Nightshade Dryad. Okay, so a bunch of stuff we can't cast. If we had cast the Ampter last turn, we would have hit a Cranial Ram. Alright, I'll take that Eviscerator's Insight, if I'm completely honest. I really need to find some black mana, or mana in general. I would have liked black mana, but that's okay. So Ampter into Eviscerator's Insight, not the best, but at least it got me a little bit deeper. And we can cast the Lelia or the Skittering Precursor now, though our opponent can cast... Well, I was going to say Writhing Chrysalis, but fortunately they didn't have it. So, what are we doing here? We don't have a good attack with the Raptor. We can sacrifice the Simulacrum to just shoot something, but I don't think that's what we want to do. Okay, Cranial Ram. We can put the Ram on the Raptor. Yeah, and then we can get in with our first striker. They could double block here, which wouldn't be great, but at least we get rid of the Dryad in that case. Cranial Ram on a first striker is at least solid. I would have loved to have been able to, like, Eviscerator's Insight away the Germ token before moving the Ram over, if possible, but we kind of want to be a little aggressive, and we only have the 1 black source, so that would have been multiple turns of waiting. Take 3. Okay, so I think we have to use the Simulacrum to kill the Gargantua here before they get a chance to draw cards. Lelia couldn't have attacked, so there wasn't a point playing that. The Skittering Precursor would have been okay. Okay, we're letting them draw cards. Why are we letting them draw cards? I guess we just put enough pressure in play that... Because they have to use the Nightshade Dryad unless they draw a Swamp here. So that's 1 less blocker. They're kind of incentivized to attack. If they make a 6/6, they didn't, but... Alright. Color. We saw from a couple videos that this card is the bane of my existence, so... yeah, bin... A breather last, I guess, sure. Crack this, get a spawn. Menace no longer looking particularly relevant. Second trigger, draw, and a Cursed Marauder. Well, the good news is that card also doesn't really matter. So we do get another chance for our Simulacrum to clear the Gargantua before they draw cards off of it. The Ampter still has good attacks here, though kind of nothing else does. Alright, what do we got? We can... A Cursed Marauder, which triggers both of our Skittering Precursors. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I think it's just Ampter here. They can just block with a token, I guess, if they want to. So we can Accursed Marauder and Simulacrum this turn. Are they looking to block with the Precursor? That seems wild to me. They definitely don't want to take 5, I don't imagine. So maybe they value the Precursor less because the 2 cards off the Fetid Gargantua, the color is obviously the best thing that they have going on. They could double block. That doesn't do anything, but okay. Not sure I understand that double block in particular, but the Marauder becomes better now with the opposing Precursor gone, because now they don't get the spawn when we play our Accursed Marauder. And we do get a spawn, which means we can Marauder and Simulacrum here if we want to. And again, depending on what they sacrifice to this Marauder, I think we do want to clear the Fetid Gargantua. Yeah, they sacrificed the Dryad. So but they did fetch the Swamp a moment ago. All right. So, what am I sacrificing to their Marauder? I think it might be my Skittering Precursor, but that feels kind of wrong. Also, a little surprised that we didn't. I guess we make them. Yeah, okay, never mind. I'm not catching up with myself. So, if they go to activate the Fetid Gargantua, we sacrifice our Simulacrum in response and just clear it with the trigger on the stack, make them waste 3 mana. If they play the Accursed Marauder, they don't have another black source, and us keeping our artifact count a little higher allows us to have this Cranial Plating on the Ampter be relevant. We still have a little ways to go to try to get the last points of damage through. Like, Territorial Color is just like a stream of cards. The Fetid Gargantua is more cards. The Propagator Drone can block for 4 mana, basically. Just forever. Okay, alright. So Victimize. Bring back 2 things. They do have to sacrifice something. Most likely the Propagator Drone, I guess. Those 2 things are tapped, though. So, okay. Now what? If their last card is Horrid Assault, we're kind of just boned, but yeah. Kill this thing. We do lose a power on the Ampter. We get the power back from the Ampter. And then Lelia give it Menace attack for a lot? That's 5. So we would have 3, 6, 7, 8 with Menace. But yeah, this is 8 with Menace. So they have to chump block the Ampter, and then they can't activate the Fetid Gargantua. I mean, they can activate it. They can put the counters on it, but they can't draw any cards. So, hooray! A bunch of Menace things, a bunch of little shitters got there. Good job, little shitters. I'd say Lelia having haste was relevant there, but we had the Arena of Glory anyway, so. But Lelia got to come into play. Yay! Okay, we at least sort of have the black source this time. We can not curve 1, 2, 3 into Lelia. Alright, I don't even want to play the Simulacrum now, so I think we just play the black source on 1. and go turn 2 Vampire into turn 3 Lelia. We had to give up either our turn 1 or our turn 2 because our black source is this landscape. And if our opponent's going to lead on the Mandibular Kite, then the Simulacrum isn't attacking on turn 1 anyway. So. Oh. Okay. Yeah, opponent's trying to put on some pressure, huh? This thing has lifelink, so that's good. Maybe we can race a little bit with it, but we'll see. Static Evangel. So that Proliferate is going to start looking real scary, real fast. We're going to get in with Lelia here. I think... We're not? Okay, we didn't want to trade Lelia. I definitely wanted to trade the Metastatic Evangel off the table. Proliferating onto that germ would have been the death of me. Like, if they had followed up that turn, if they went turn 1 Flying Germ, turn 2 put counters on it, turn 3 Evangel into Transmigrant, I would have been a sad boy. As it is, I'm kind of sad just because I'm taking 3 in the air every turn. So, alright, Bogart Trawler, can't block. We have Menace here. It can block the Lelia. Yuck. Yeah. Attack with both. Alright, so unless I'm gonna, like, Eviscerator's Insight here, I think it's correct to just get the Lelia down, but I don't know. Because I'm taking 6 here. 6 is so much. Even if I get the Lelia down this coming turn. Yeah. Alright, so... sacrifice this. It gets me an extra mana and a body that I can sacrifice to another insight later. Okay, we found a flyer. We did not find a second black source, so we can't play our flyer. Yikes. Alright. Here's Aurelia. We get to attack with both of these. Okay. Accursed Marauder's okay. Not the best, not the worst. We get to kill probably the Bogart Trawler. Yeah. But we also get another token. So we're on a, as it stands, 3 turn clock from the Germ token with flying. Yeah, Breathe Your Last on the Lelia. At least it got in and drew me a card, functionally. We can block here and sacrifice it so that there's no life gain. Like, we're still behind on this race, but we are still at least kind of racing. All right, this lets us Arcbound Condor. We don't have... Well, we get to Charge Bug and Condor here. Okay, this could be worse. I forgot that this was a thing that the Condor does. Not that it matters, because I don't have, like, a Transmigrant to bring back at instant speed. But yeah, I perpetually forget. Like, I think it's just blocked out of my brain that the Condor has that ETB effect for artifacts. Excuse me. Apologies. Alright, so Wither and Bloom. That's just lethal, right? Yeah. So Wither and Bloom, clear my flyer, put a +1/+1 counter on their flyer, and I die. So yippee. Opponent had a very, very good start there. 1-drop into make my 1-drop a 3/3 with flying into, like, yeah, into just 3 power creatures repeatedly. They went Evangel into Trawler, and then ultimately the Ondu lifelinking guy, which was fine, but yeah, that was a bit tough. We've also been on a pretty sick run of being on the draw a lot, but that's okay. No energy in sight. The 1/3 makes me want to just get the vampire down over the Ampter. The Ampter's not attacking into the 1/3, so might as well get the thing that can get Menace and have 3 power down first. We'll hold off on this Barbarian Ring so we're not just taking damage a bunch of turns. Okay, Pearlier might be a problem. So now we don't even want to, like, go Menace here? What are we doing? If we amped her, what are we looking for, right? Like, I think we just play the Vampire here. Play the second Vampire, and then... Okay. Yeah, now what are we sacrificing it? The Ampter itself? Was this just 2 mana draw 2? Yep. Alright. That happened. 2 mana draw 2. We need to keep the Simulacrum and hope that our opponent doesn't make the Pearl Ear bigger right now, so that the Simulacrum can try to clear it. And that's not even like a guarantee to work. So this game is already looking a little tough. I don't think we can afford to just sit here and wait for the Pearl Ear to do things. I would also have loved to kill this Royal Cartographer, but I don't... I can't race the Pearl Ear. I don't have the evasion. I don't have the power. I can't attack through it. I can't attack around it. And I can't afford for it to just go off with bestow creatures. So I think I need to take this turn off to be able to clear the Sarpadian Simulacrum, which is very unfortunate. This is block with Simulacrum, and then use it. Put you. And then if they have Dog Umbra or similar, at least they're not gaining life. Because, like, we couldn't have stopped the Dog Umbra either way, right? Okay, that worked. That's good. So, opponent gained a lot of tempo with all of this. They got a little bit of a life swing, 6-point life swing by connecting once with the Pearl Ear, and made me take an entire turn off to use my 1-drop to clear their 3/4. Why wouldn't they do that first? Huh. Alright. So we're playing the Cranial Ram so that we discount the Refurbished Familiar. Opponent is down to 3 cards in hand. We can start trying to get rid of some of these. Like, our opponent wants some amount of lands because of the Royal Cartographer, so if we can strip lands, that's not bad. Maybe they don't draw 3. If we can strip spells, okay, good, that's fine too. Deem unworthy, sure. Any land here is just an Ancestral Recall, yeah. So like I said, I would have really liked to have killed this Royal Cartographer, but... Alright, for 1 Ancestral Recall for our opponent. That's bad for us. We have no particularly good attacks. That Wither and Bloom certainly helps. So what do? We can... I think we want to Eviscerator's Insight the Germ. Before... No, don't just move it. Come on, get your 2 cards. Boo. Boo past me, boo. We should... theoretically be Eviscerator inciting the Germ. If we're gonna move the Cranial Ram anyway, then we should get value off of the Germ. Otherwise, we're just throwing away one of only a couple creatures we have. Sure. I guess we get a little lucky and we get to use the Insight anyway. But I don't know. Maybe that's what we were doing. We were just playing around removal. More lands. Perfect. Okay, I guess we technically could attack, but it's a bad attack. Did Auto Tapper use all 3 of our black mana? That's cool. I guess it really wanted me to use Arena of Glory. That kind of sucks, actually. I don't think we were going to cast Wither and Bloom that turn, but regardless. Okay, so Retrofitted Transmigrant gives us another power on this Cranial Ram. We have 2 Eviscerators Insights in our graveyard. Yeah. Here's a Vampire. And now we have Wither and Bloom still up. No attacks. The 1/4 doing just a very good job of making this Cranial Ram not feel great. We can get it onto the retrofitted, the refurbished familiar and start attacking in the air with it. We can also potentially put it on the Dream Drinker Vampire here in a minute and get some life linking attacks in as well. But the Emissary of Soulfire just sitting there holding off the Cranial Ram is... Ugh. Alright. What are we doing? Return target creature. Yeah, okay. So they're killing my germ, and I don't have 5 mana to Eviscerators inside it. Which is unfortunate. It doesn't get rid of the Cranial Ram at least, but we are down a germ. And here's a 3/5, which is an even bigger, dumber blocker than the 1/4. Deem inferior on the Transmigrant. That's a bit tough. I really don't want to draw that. Like, I want it in my graveyard. I don't really want to draw it. Okay, so... yeah, I guess we get to shuffle either way. That's fine. Yep. Hey, 10 lands. Let's go. So we're +2. The Cranial Ram is a +2. Okay, it's on there. Let's adapt. We have a 5/3 with Menace. And we have a Wither and Bloom. So, theoretically, opponent double blocking here is fine. We should be able to kick out any double block with Wither and Bloom. Yeah, this is fine. So, Wither and Bloom on the 3/5, because Wither and Bloom on the 1/1 doesn't make us win combat. We gain 5 life. We kill off a germ and a real creature. We, if we want to, can move the Cranial Ram over without our Vampire dying. I don't know if we care, but it was a thing we could do. Any removal is going to kill the Vampire, whether it's got 3 toughness or 2, I think. Okay, 3 mana. Maybe I should have ultimately kept the retrofitted Transmigrant just because I have these Eviscerators Insights and nothing to do with them. But, like, just drawing a 1/1 just so I can sacrifice it seems less than ideal. We do have 10 mana that we don't particularly want or need. The Barbarian Ring can shock something. We do have Threshold as it is. We have the ability to put a counter on the Vampire to give it Menace again, though double blocking with a 1/3 and a 1/4 means that I only kill one thing. So it's kind of medium anyway. Opponent taking some time. 4 cards in hand. They, from my perspective, they feel very ahead, but a lot of that also has to do with the fact that I know I have 2 lands in hand. Alright, so they get a chump blocker every turn that they want it, and then they get to start bouncing the Serum Visionary to just be digging and setting up their draw. That's certainly less than ideal for me. Okay. They're just deciding if they're attacking. Yeah. I'll take one. Boop. 11th land is not really what we were hoping to see here. So we attack with the vampire. We have the barbarian ring hanging out. If they do try to double block. Okay. So we kill the Serum Visionary with our barbarian ring. Which also stops the Essence Reliquary from being too much card advantage. 26. Like, alright. There's no real reason not to move it over, I don't think, unless yeah, we still have 5 mana up for the Eviscerator's Insight even, so yeah, for sure, just move it over. Tune the narrative. Opponent does have the choice to get some Exalted counters down if they just want to make sure that they can attack through this familiar, but at the end of the day, like, moving it over just makes more sense than not moving it over. Yep, there's your blocker again. For 1 mana, just being able to make a blocker every turn is probably going to put me almost all the way out of this game. They've already Ancestral Recalled once with the Royal Cartographer. There's a landscape there, so that they're very likely going to be able to do it again. Okay. Well, I guess the good news is if they're putting that there, I mean, it's just going to fall off if and when they choose to block, right? I mean, I can see that they have the landscape. We drew a not land, which is nice. I kind of just want to put the ram back on the lifelinker and attack again. Sure. Does this matter? What does this do? Oh, it gives me an extra power on the cranial ram, I suppose. I don't know what giving it haste does, though. Like, 2 out of 3 blockers over there just don't care about it. Sure. Okay, that puts it to 4 toughness. This gives it menace and 4 power. We no longer have Eviscerator's Insight available this turn, but we do have 2 attacks that aren't the worst. Okay. I'm also not, like, excited about this attack. Like, it's okay. Opponent doesn't have, like, a good block here. They lose something either way. But they're also at 22 and can just afford to take 9 right now if they really want to. I've gotten rid of the known way to give menace to the vampire. Alright, I get to kill the emissary. Like, unless they have, like, Dog Umber or something. Here's this so that it's a trade. Yeah. Okay. I guess. We still are at 10 lands with the one that we used in the graveyard. So I'm still lamenting that. Here's the second Ancestral Recall. God, Royal Cartographer unanswered is just unbeatable. If it just gets to sit there, like the board clogs and it just does its thing, I'm very sad. I'm a sad guy right now. This game looks terrible for me. We've drawn way too many lands, and our opponent has gotten to draw 3 extra cards twice because we just don't have removal. Like Wither and Bloom is one of the only removal spells in our deck. Second Royal Cartographer. The Reliquary can just start picking up the gargoyle or a land, depending on what they feel like doing. Yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck. I don't like my odds of winning this at this point. I don't think we trade with this germ. Trading with the germ just means the glyph elemental falls off, and then suddenly they have a 4/4 instead of a 3/3. Yeah, and we're at 30, so we can take this hit several times. We can sacrifice the Gatekeeper to the Insight if we don't find anything, because it comes back at least. But God, that's way too many lands. It's land 12. Yeah. I don't ever want to draw 12 lands in my Rakdos affinity decks. That's not where we're at. I guess if we draw Harrogast off the top, that's pretty good, right? We can just hardcast it. We don't even have to worry about emerging it. Okay, so we have, like, I guess a little bit of a... We're going to air quotes out here. We have a good card in our deck, given the situation. What else do we have? Not looking at the deck. We have 17 cards left in deck. Harrogast is our top end. That's a second Glyph Elemental. That's wild. Okay. Yeah. 2 energy. Their thing is a 5/5 now. Okay. Like, now do I trade with it? Kind of think I have to. Like, if I don't trade with it now, I don't get a chance to trade with it, right? So, yeah, if we don't trade with it, we don't get a chance to trade with it. If they have something to blow out this trade, it is what it is. Here's the 2 Glyph Elementals falling off, so they do just split their resources. But, like, otherwise the flyer goes unchecked. At least if it's on the ground, I can potentially keep up with it. Okay. They already played land for turn, so I don't think I mind. But they do get to hit a land drop every turn they want to, since it's worth 2+1/+1 counters and 2 energy. So just every turn, just by virtue of playing a land. Sure, the kite just makes that one a bigger, dumber flyer. Yeah, alright. Maybe I wasn't supposed to trade. Yeah, ugh. Alright. Cranial Ram number 2. Because our resources are so down bad, I think we kind of have to sacrifice this germ to an Insight. Like, I don't think we can just afford to pay mana to move the Rams over. Yeah, okay. I probably shouldn't tap all the way out of black mana here? Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Like, if they have Aether Spike or something, there's not really anything I could do about that. They have 3 energy built up. They can get more or less as much energy as they want every turn. Not literally, but they can get a lot of energy. This looks like an Aether Spike. So this insight wasn't ever resolving. We could have played our land and made them waste 1 extra energy here. Like, they could be at 0 instead of 1, but I don't think that really matters. Here's an 8/5 that you can just trade with if you want to. Or just chump block. I gotta be honest, kind of glad that they're trading here. Like, this game is going terribly for me, but I think if these glyph elementals are allowed to just keep getting bigger, that I don't have a chance of winning. I don't think opponent needed to block there. Or if they do block, I think they could have just blocked with one of the 2 Royal Cartographers. They didn't really... They weren't forced to throw away their largest evasive creature, is all I'm saying. So, landfall, they get a 4/4 and 2 more energy. So this turn they have an attack for 6, 7, 8. Yeah, Harrogast, Lelia, I guess. Yeah, I only have like 2 even almost reasonable outs in the deck. And honestly, I wouldn't call either one of them particularly good. Like, Lelia is fine, Harrogast is just a big, dumb creature. Okay, so the Grim Servant can go tutor for a 3 or less. So he can go tutor for Lelia. So I think that's worthwhile. I think we use the Arena of Glory too to cast it. Yeah. So we use Arena of Glory. Do we? I think maybe we play the Molten Gatekeeper first, if I'm being honest. Just get the damage while we can, right? So, boop, boop. Then activate Arena, Grim Servant. Find a 3. Assuming this all resolves. You know, no guarantees. But, so we have a Hasty Menace creature, which isn't the worst. Then 3 more mana, 1, 2, 3. We still have 3 left up, so we can move one of the Cranial Rams onto something. A Curse Marauder doesn't matter. They just have too many things. I think we need to try to be attacking. As like, unlikely as this is to ultimately work. Like, I think this is the only route we have. We can pay for another Aether Spike. We cannot deal with a Flare of Denial. Okay. Well, opponent drew counter magic at the end of the game when they had the resources to use it, and that sucks for us. We're not technically dead, but we're basically dead. We're back up to a 6 power Glyph Elemental. We're taking 8, 10 this turn. We lost an artifact, so our Cranial Rams are slightly worse. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they should blink something just to have a blocker. Like, they know I can give haste because of these Arena of Glories. Getting 2 energy is probably the best thing they can do here. Okay. Skittering Precursor. We are dead on board. I don't think this haste matters. They do both have menace. But what am I drawing to? Because I'm about to use 5 of my mana, 4/5. It only leaves me 2 mana left over. So I guess I have to do this first. I don't even know what I'm looking for here. I guess the Pteramander buys me a turn because it can block. Sure. Okay, that was the wrong mana to pay. So if... Yeah, okay. So even if we had found Pteramander there, it paid the red mana. We were... Yeah. Our opponent drew 6 extra cards off of Royal Cartographers. We never answered anything. This deck was very, very removal light and needed to be aggressive. An opponent stifled our aggression, and we drew 12 lands when our opponent had like 6 or 7. So unfortunately, that draft did not really go the way we were hoping. The curve is good, but no removal. We have 1 Wither and Bloom and the Infernal Captor plus Eviscerator's Insight 6 mana combo, which is terrible. And we never drew Harrogast in any of our games. Not that it would have necessarily like won us the game or anything, but we were top decking for a few turns in a row, and a 6/6 with flying that would draw us 3 cards would have been the best top deck for 5 or 6 turns in a row. Unfortunately, we didn't come across it, and Grim Servant certainly can't tutor for a 9-drop. We just don't have the devotion like that. So, unfortunately, that makes 2 1/3s in a row. We still have a winning record, but only barely for the month of July. And Platinum is proving to be a slog this time around. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you just fly through it. You have a couple good drafts in a row, and you just kind of burn through it. We're gonna keep trying. We're gonna get through Platinum. We're gonna make it through Diamond. We're gonna get to Mythic. I promise. We're going to buckle down. We're going to have some good drafts. It's going to happen. Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful day.